So the Green Party pissed me off, okay? I vote for them, but I need them to do better. And I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you kind of feel the same. We're seeing Labour doing an appalling job for this country, an appalling job of standing up for like Labour values, or the values a lot of people have voted for. No one likes the Tories. We were governed by them for over a decade, and they just pummeled our country. So people don't want to vote for them either. And we just had some elections where Reform did pretty well. And a lot of us are kind of nervous about that. And a lot of us are looking at the Green Party, wondering what they're doing. Like, this is the time to strike, and we need you to get your act together. So in today's video, I kind of want to talk about what I think that looks like. As someone who has like grown up voting for Green, I went vegan in 2007. I'm in my 30s and I can't drive. I am the cliche textbook Green voter, and they need to appeal to more than just me, more than just the vegans, more than just the people getting public transport. I really do believe they're the party that should appeal to the majority of the country, and yet don't. And I want to kind of like dig into why that is and what they need to change to actually be the party people want to vote for. So in today's video, we're going to go through what they need to do to change, why they need to talk about the environment a lot less, like why they're perceived as being so middle class and how they change that and appeal to the everyday person a bit more, how they get more media attention and how they deal with more media attention when the media goes against them, and what sort of things we're looking for in a Green Party leader and why maybe having two leaders is not really working. We're going to cover a lot, and one thing everyone wants in the political leader of the UK seems to be that they can have a drink with you down the pub. So we're having a bevy as we do this. And being very on brand here as a Green Party voter, the wine I've got here, sustainably grown on family-owned vineyards, and vegan. And yeah, just before we get too into this video, I really want to clarify, I'm not like a political expert, and I'm not trying to like dominate conversation. I'm trying to start a conversation. I want there to be comments on this. I want to hear different viewpoints. I want to grow my own viewpoints. I want to be challenged. I want to evolve my opinions and my thoughts. And I don't think the fact that I never studied politics at school and I don't understand all the system should cut me off from discussing politics. I think we need everyday people talking about politics, even if it's a bit imperfect, to really create change. And yeah, I've been putting off this video for a long time because I didn't think I was qualified enough, and I don't like that barrier to entry because that keeps it all very elite. So thank you for joining me on this video, and let's just treat each other with respect, and if you disagree with me, I welcome it. Thank you for keeping this positive space, and thank you for engaging in getting our country into a better spot, basically. So first up, why do I, someone that cares passionately about the climate crisis, like someone that's been vegan for 17 years, why do I want the Green Party to talk less about the environment? Because everyone already knows they're the climate party. Like, no one is in any doubts about if you're voting for a greener future, you vote green, okay? That is understood. No one's thinking that Reform is going to be better for the environment. No one thinks Labour's going to be better for the environment. The climate vote is in the bag. We really do not need to waste any more like breath on convincing people to vote for green for a greener future. It's not only in the title, but it's widely understood. And yeah, a greener future is better for everyone, but maybe like hit that point a bit home. Like, for example, the housing crisis. I'm someone that has been paying rent for well over a decade now, and I'm sick of it. I would love to be a homeowner. I would love the opportunity to save the sort of money that could get me a mortgage. Like a lot of people in my generation, not really happening, is it? And it's not looking like a better future right now. In fact, we're all struggling with the cost of living. So if they could focus a bit more on rent controls, greener homes with better insulation, which lead to lower energy bills, that would be great. Better public transport, more support for farmers that leads to food security, cleaner air for the next generation, for people's children. These are the sort of things they can talk about, which are actually a bit more like directly affecting us, that are hitting our pockets, are hitting our families, without really saying like, we're good for the planet. Like, talk about the things that actually are affecting us day to day. Talk about where our money is going and where we're seeing costs rise and rise, and where we're feeling a bit jaded and frustrated with the public service. Don't just talk to us about net zero. That's just corporate jargon. That isn't hitting me at home in the way they maybe think it is. If you want to talk about like the corporate stuff, the economy, talk about the green economy, talk about more jobs, talk about putting them across the country, not just in London. So okay, if the Green Party aren't leading with the green policies, what do I want them to lead with? Number one, cost of living. They are literally the one party I can see with an actual solution to this, and they're the one party happy to say tax the rich. Tax the rich. And I also think they need to be very, very strict on defining what they mean by rich, because I think sometimes we say this and anyone with a salary like 80k above These aren't the people I'm willing to attack. These aren't the people I think should be paying like oodles of tax. I think we're talking about the multimillionaires, and I think when we talk about taxing the rich, we need to be very clear, because people are just scared of like hitting their wealth goals and then getting ultra taxed. And it's like, if you want to be a homeowner and have a comfortable life for your family, fine. We're not coming after you. It's the people who have got a lot of money, who have managed to invest in passive income, basically doing no work and just having the money roll in because you had the money to invest in making more money. I'm sick of the rich getting richer. So yeah, lead with a message of taxing the rich and very much define what we mean by the rich. I think right now, so many people fear that we're talking about themselves or their future selves. It's not coming after the regular people, and I think they really need to get that message out there about what we really define as rich. The phrase, right, is tax wealth, not work. Tax wealth, not work. We want to invest in green homes. We want to have more energy efficient homes. We want them to be built with longevity, you know? We don't want them to just be built cheap and scrappy so that whoever's developing these properties can maximize their profits, right? Less of that, more of homes people actually want to live in that are going to be cost effective for them in the long run and that are going to reduce our energy bills. And if we could find a way to maybe stop these energy companies from charging us more and more every year and seeing their profits go up more and more every year, I'd really like that. Like, they'll say there's an energy crisis and yet the energy companies are recording record profits, so it's not really adding up, and I'm getting a bit fed up of feeling mugged off, right? And I think we all feel that way. Public transport, we need it to be more reliable, cheaper, public ownership, simple. Workers' rights, we just need fair wages, honestly. It's just exhausting. I'm so sick of the cost of living being so ridiculous. So if we could get wages to actually rise, to actually match, and more unions and more rights for workers, I would love that. And like, nationalise key industries. Food and health, honestly, focus on supporting British farmers and like food security in this country. Don't go in on the vegan message. As much as I love it, I don't think that's where you're going to win voters. And obviously when it comes to health, the NHS. And I think that's a really key message. We're all seeing the NHS get pummeled, and it can feel very much to the everyday person that they are trying to deplete the service the NHS gives so that we roll over and say, sure, let's go for a privatised version. This does not work. We really don't want that. I think whoever I talk to, whoever they vote for, one of the things Brits are most proud of is the NHS and our free healthcare, especially when we look at the alternative, which is America. We know it is disgusting. And I think if the Green Party can kind of highlight a bit more about reforms policies on the NHS and healthcare versus the Green policies on the NHS and healthcare, it's very easy to see where you vote to protect the NHS, which again, I really think is something that British people really hold their head high on. And we'll be getting onto what it means to be proud to be British later, but the NHS, up there. But yeah, why do the Green Party seem so middle class? I think it's fair to say that environmental issues are often framed as a luxury issue. I feel like it feels like the issue that people care about once your basic needs are met, right? It is a add-on luxury cause to care about. The working class have real issues, and then the people beyond that, the middle class, care about stuff like the environment. But environmental issues hit vulnerable communities first, so like generally the worse wealthy you are, the more the climate crisis is gonna affect you and hit you. So I don't really feel like the climate crisis is a middle class issue. It is an everybody issue, but somehow the framing has been set. I think when you hear like the Green Party, when you hear sustainability, people don't often think about actual like working class habits. Like working class people fly less, they are more resourceful, I'd say. Typically, they're more likely to mend stuff when things break. They're more likely to under-consume because they've got less disposable income. They're just generally the greener person, whereas for middle class people, it's generally the more investable solutions that they're able to go for, like something like buying organic wine and getting a reusable water bottle, swapping to refillable deodorant, which I would say works out cheaper in the long run, but in the long run, you have to have that disposable income beforehand. Going vegan. I can definitely see the associations there and why it can feel so othering to people from working class communities, and that there is like a Green Party starter pack and all the accessories don't align with your lifestyle. I think that the policy can sound expensive because it often requires investment, just like something like a reusable water bottle, right? This costs you 30 quid to buy instead of £1 for every plastic bottle you buy. What do you have available right now? £1. Can't get this. But after 30 days, this is the cheaper option. And I think that's the sort of story for a lot of sustainable things, right? You have to invest more upfront to get the savings in the long run. So it depends on how you frame these stories. And if the media wants to frame sustainable options as more expensive, you just talk about the upfront cost and avoid mentioning how little the time frame is until you come into the savings and how beneficial that would be for us in the long term, especially when you're talking about like many years and many people. These sustainable swaps often make sense, but it is so easy to frame them as like too expensive. The media doesn't help. They do love to mock the Green Party as the party that is gonna like give you 10 recycling bins or ban cars or ban bacon, or as a sort of Puritan authoritarian way of living, when that is not that's not the policies they're setting out. But at the end of the day, climate breakdown, pollution, food insecurity, poor housing, those are all things that affect all of us. It's not a middle class Green Party issue, right? And we need to break down that whole tofu eating wokarati image that we have. And I think the way they appeal to more everyday people is just stuff like talking in plain English, having a leader that wasn't privately educated or with strong ties to London, and connecting people with the real life issues, like the day-to-day issues, not the climate crisis, but lower bills, better buses, more affordable homes, get more working class people involved in running as MPs, and distance yourself as much as you can from the moral superiority. And whilst I don't think this is something they necessarily set out, I think it's easy for the media to push that angle. Just myself, like being a vegan, I'll meet people who aren't vegan. I'm not trying to drop any shame on them, but when they talk to me, once they figured out that I'm vegan, they will just get a bit defensive, because let's be honest, they know that eating vegan is kind of the kinder choice and it's better for the environment. It is the more moral choice, right? We all are aware of it. Just by your sheer existence, people feel like they have to justify why they don't do it, and they just get a bit defensive. And I think it can feel like that when you see green candidates. You feel kind of like isolated and defensive because you're like, oh, they expect me to go vegan and ride a bike and blah, 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 blah. It's not that. Like, we want to make those things more accessible, but we don't want to belittle people who aren't making those choices. And I think the media is really going to latch onto that relationship and amplify it. And I think that the Green Party needs to really get ahead of that and do their best to kind of clock those differences and highlight why that's not what they care about, and just really hammer down that they're not looking down on the regular British people. And let's be honest, they are not getting headlines. Before filming this video and looking them up, I could not tell you the two Green Party leader names. It's Carla Denyer and Adrian Ramsey, by the way. But like I say, I just didn't know them. I'm voting for this party and I didn't know them because they do not get the media coverage. And whether or not that's because the media is against left-wing politics, I mean, generally, I'd say there's a fair point to that argument, but that doesn't mean you give up, right? You have to fight hard to get your names out there, to get your speeches and your message and your policies out there. And we need a party doing a bit more of that. They need more headlines and attention. I think they just need to pick the battles wisely. Tax avoidance, sewage and rivers, greedy landlords, energy giants profiting from poverty. I think those are good ones to lead with. And also, like, whenever you've got people talking about like the trans issue and whether or not transgender people should be in bathrooms, or about Nigel Farage going on about the lack of normal milk in his hotel room, I think you just need to look at that and just belittle it and say, like, do you think these are the issues people care about? People are struggling to pay their bills, people are struggling to live, and you're arguing about who's in the bathroom. Are you having a laugh? Kind of just take the culture wars and just say, like, you really think this is what we should be talking about? Like, really call it out. Be the regular person in the room and say, like, sorry, actually, maybe we should be talking about this tax avoidance this week, or these big banker bonuses this week, child poverty this week. Like, every time we're trying to get distracted with culture wars, drag it back to what we actually need to be talking about, what the everyday person is actually struggling with, not gender neutral loos. Most people have a gender neutral loo in their home. We all use the loo. Sorry, just like stopping in editing, I really don't want this to get confused with me saying like trans rights is not important. That is hugely important, and rights just for everyone, very important. I'm just saying that when the conversations go to culture wars, just so that they can like talk about bathrooms, so exhausting, so irrelevant, bring it back round. But if we're talking about, like, say, the Supreme Court ruling and someone's rights getting rolled back, yes, in that situation, talk about it. But yeah, I was just really worried it was coming across like the wrong way there. Like, those rights important. Culture wars to distract from real issues and to act as something to like divide us and get us angry over things we were not angry about before the headlines. No more of that. Let's not let the next culture war debate rise over a scapegoat. And God, they need to get better with social media. And I feel like they're the party with so many young supporters as well. Honestly, I think Reform do social media so well, and the Green Party are floundering, and I don't really understand because they've got so many easy wins, they've got such a young voter base, like what is going on? I feel like we can be really unfair to the Green Party because basically they're not representing the interests of the mega rich, so they don't get funding from the mega rich, so they're generally not got as much funding as the other parties, then that means less resources. I understand why social media might be lower down on the rung, and I'm sure there's like this one person working so hard on social media that is always getting like pummeled in these sort of arguments, but give that person a bigger team. And invest in social media, it will invest back in you and give more real people, more real stories, throw shit out on social media, see what sticks and go forward. Honestly, I don't know how else to describe that. I'm always seeing Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn on my newsfeed because they're putting out big, strong statements against what the government's doing, and they get reshares, and I understand their views, and I feel really strongly aligned to them. But like the only Green candidate I've ever felt like aligned to or like connected with was Caroline Lucas, and she's gone now. So I'm just like, where are all the Green candidates? Social media is so simple for them. You just like put down your thoughts on why the government's so rubbish, turn it into a post, and then put on social media. The caption's just parroting whatever the post says, and then you get shares, and then you get your message out there. Simple, honestly, so simple. So low effort, and I never see it from the Green Party. And I feel like I'm following the right people to see it. I don't know why I'm not seeing any like tweets or messages from the Green Party on my feed. I don't know. And like I say, I really think that is a very low effort social media post. I work in social media. It's very simple, very effective, takes 2 ticks, go for it. But yeah, when it comes to the press, God bless them, they do have their work cut out for them. Like, you know, the newspapers are really gonna hammer it in on them. It's the same thing as like, it's just frustrating. Whenever you're trying to do good in the world, you're held up to the standard. When you're like Nigel Farage or Donald Trump, the bar is so low, you can say whatever, do whatever, and they're all like, ooh. Whereas like when you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do better for the world, they're like, oh my God, you once flew to Greece instead of getting the train there. Let's bring you back down where you belong. You are a hypocrite. Like, they hold you up to such an impossible degree. And we saw it with Jeremy Corbyn, right? He just got absolutely pummeled. I think he was like sat down on a train, and I don't even remember the news story, but he got obliterated for like the tiniest things, and you see the crap that everyone else seems to get away with, and you're just, it's exasperating, and you feel really sorry for anyone left wing trying to make through, but you still got to do it. You still got to try your best. There will be headlines saying a vote for Greens is a vote for a future with no bacon. A vote for Greens is a vote for the future without cars. Like, stuff like that, we are going to have to battle. And I think they're just going to have to get ahead of the joke. I think we really need a leader with some humour who can just make fun of themselves, call themselves out for not being perfect before the tabloids get a chance to. And you know what? Nigel Farage loves to be like, I'm anti-establishment. You are the establishment, mate. I do not believe he's going to be the change that people want. Whereas like the Green Party, when they get all this bad press, can they use that attitude? Can they say like, they're coming after us because they know we're the real change, but they actually mean it? You know what I mean? Like, if it works for them, it should work for you. I don't know if that's quite how it'll work out, but you can try it. Like, when they get the backlash, just use it as proof that you're doing something bold, that you are disruptors, that they don't want to see the change that will help the regular people because they know it'll hurt them, the ultra rich. Keep bringing it back to that. Keep bringing it back to, these people are hoarding the wealth. They're upset with us because we're trying to change that. They need to get on podcasts as well. And I did see recently on Politics Joe that, what's his name? Zach Polanski. He is wanting to be the new leader of the Green Party. Don't know how I feel about him yet. Still forming an opinion, but he went on the Politics Show podcast, and it got me thinking a lot about the future of the Green Party, and it led to this sort of conversation. Donald Trump, hate him, but he did really well in getting his presidency through appearing on podcasts. And the Green Party need to do that. They need to put themselves forward for these slots, and they need to push the message that way. It can help. It's not all about mainstream media and legacy media, or whatever you want to call it. These podcasts can really be the place to go to get the message out there. So whether or not it's like the rest is politics or Politics Show or Navarro Media or whatever, just get your faces out there. It doesn't have to just be one leader. Just get the message out there, call for people to rally together and demand better living conditions and a better world and better wages and a lower cost of living. And just please lead with the cost of living. It's if people just let their wealth generate instead of working for a living, those are the people who are doing well. Everyone else who is actually working for a living, struggling. seeing their living standards go down. No one likes to see it, whether or not it means you're being shoveled into poverty or whether or not it means you go on one less holiday this year. We're all against it, and that unifies a lot of people. But yeah, podcasts, YouTubes, if you can't get it through the legacy media, look elsewhere. It is there. Donald Trump managed to do it. Why not the Greens? But anyway, yeah, talking about Donald Trump, he got a lot of votes, and there's something about him that people want to vote for. Personally, don't see it, but it seems like a good segue in talking about what we need in a Green Party leader. I don't necessarily think they need someone working class, but at least someone that doesn't sound posh and someone that didn't go to private school. Let them be able to talk to ordinary people in a language they understand. And really, I think it is so key that they have a sense of humour. I really think it's so key that when they're talking to Nigel Farage and he gets a bit silly, they can make fun of him back. You know what I mean? Like, if he has a go at them for one thing, they can have a go at him. It's not always on the defensive. It just becomes a bit like, yeah, I can banter. You know what I mean? It's so much of British politics does seem to come down to, can you have a pint with them down the pub? And I really don't want the Green Party to forget that. And if they could just have a sense of humour, get ahead of the jokes on the whole like eco thing, the moral superiority they're going to get painted with, it would just do wonders. I really think that is critical. Like, just be able to explain policy and take the piss. I think that is someone we need. I think Keir Starmer has just been a bore. And if he actually gave us like strong stability, lowered the cost of living, gave us a better quality of life, we wouldn't mind it. But he hasn't, and now we're just like, we've got a bore for a prime minister who's not even doing us any good. We don't need that. I think it just seems like politics being run by personalities. Like, I think the left is very much accused of bringing calculators to a knife fight, right? Which means they just go to these debates and think that they can beat the populists with facts, which I understand the thinking, but it's just not how politics work in these days. So you need to be able to tell a story with the facts, and we need someone to connect with people that you feel like is a nice person to be around. So I think that's what we need in a leader. As I say, Zach Polinsky seems to be vying for the lead. Oh, also, sorry. Right now, the Green Party has 2 leaders. It's not working. I do not like the approach. No one likes the approach. People struggle to remember one Green Party leader name, let alone 2. Can we just narrow it down? Maybe sometime in the future, try it that way, see if it works, but now is not the time. Stick with one leader. I don't know. When I talk about like humour and getting hell of jokes, like Ramesh Ranganathan, right? He's a vegan, an ex-maths teacher. I think he'd do gorgeous at this sort of role. Another person that I would really enjoy, who is actually a politician, Zara Sultana. She's Labour, but so anti-Labour. It really makes sense to me for her to defect to Greens. I just feel like her whole policy is so much more aligned with that. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm on social media, but I see her thoughts and opinions on things so much. I've seen her be within the Labour Party and stand up for what's right, whether or not that's Palestine or child poverty or whatever. It's so refreshing to see someone who doesn't play by the rules, that will pick morals over the status quo, and she has proven that. So I would love to see her defect to Greens and actually lead it. And she seems to have a good sense of humour as well. So I personally would love to see her do it. I think Jeremy Corbyn, if he could defect to Greens, that'd be good. But we've already tried that. I'm not totally against him going back in the running, because I think him trying, failing, and then just continuing to stick to his morals and working hard, I think that sort of resilience and grit is actually going really well with a lot of people. I think he's probably seen more favourably now that he's come out the other end of it, and I think a lot of us can see that he was very unfairly attacked in hindsight. I mean, they never made me hate him, but that's okay. And yeah, like basically I'm saying, I think people have learnt that the press slaughtered him. It was very unfair. I don't know if they could do it twice, so maybe he is viable, but like, he's not ever going to be a Labour leader again. I do see an idea of him starting a new political party with a bunch of the independents. I don't think there's enough time for him to really create something sizable for the next election on that. I could be wrong. Things move very fast these days, but I just think it makes sense for him and the more liberal Labour representatives that don't feel represented by the Labour Party anymore to defect to Greens, and for the Greens to then kind of rebrand themselves. I don't think they can change the name, but to start talking about themselves as a new Green Party, one that is way more focused on workers' rights and the environment, because like I say, they've already won the environmental message. That's what I really see for them. I think they need to avoid all the corporate jargon like net zero pathways and stuff like that. Like, talk to people about the issues they care about that really directly affect them, and then lead it on to, I don't know, climate policies and why they work. You're allowed to still talk about the climate, but don't make that the headline, don't lead with it. No lifestyle preaching. Honestly, people are just trying to pay bills. Don't demonise car drivers. Like, I don't drive a car. I live in London. I don't need to. A lot of people who do drive do it because they need it in their lives, right? So don't demonize them. Don't just show up for the progressive cities. Bristol, Brighton, London, Cambridge. I don't know, these are the sort of cities I think of when I think of the Green Party. There's so much more at the UK, and letting them know that you're fighting for the whole country, not just the cities. I don't know what to title this bit other than like migration and proud to be Britishisms, but that is a huge part of the media. And I think the Green Party just needs to really focus on like the difference between refugees and migration. Talk about how a lot of refugees are coming to us through like war refugees and climate refugees. So if we could maybe stop selling so many arms to countries like Israel that are bombing the shit out of other countries, that would be great. And like, we do need to get ahead of this climate crisis, and as it goes on, we're going to get more climate refugees. So maybe instead of whinging about all the refugees we're getting, maybe start at the source, and maybe if they could like reframe the conversation that way, like, we want less refugees, sure, how about we stop creating refugees? I think would be a good spin on things, and just focus on the fact that we're not really losing a lot of our money to people crossing borders to save their lives. We're losing a lot of money from the billionaires with their money crossing borders to avoid tax. I don't know what we pen that as, but talk about like money migration. Amazon destroyed our high street, right? And how much tax do they pay? There's always this like notion that we need the billionaires, like, oh my God, but if we got rid of the billionaires, we'd lose so much. What are we losing? Tax dodging? Poor wages for your employees at the bottom of the chain? I'm okay with losing that. I'm sorry. If that means like, if we make our country hostile to say Amazon and Facebook, okay, cool. We'll come up with a British alternative that replaces them and that actually pays tax. I don't know about you, but I'm okay with that. Also, I feel like, you know, like being a vegan, I feel like everyone says vegans hate farmers, right? Who do you think grows our food? We love farmers. And I think like the left are often painted as hating Britain, right? Like, Reform seem to have a claim on proud to be British. And I would love to see the left push a message of being proud to be British as well. But like, talk about things that actually make us be proud to be British, like the NHS. I think the time in my life I felt so proud to be British was like around 2012, where we were hosting the Olympics and One Direction were getting like Beatlemania level of fame, and the Harry Potter movie franchise was coming to an end before J.K. Rowling went on to be better known for other things. But it was such a good vibe, and it really felt like culturally we were really leading so many things. And like, that's not the last time I was proud to be British. Like, the Lionesses winning the Euros in 2022, beautiful. Marcus Rashford standing up for free school dinners, love that. When it comes to the arts, Adele, Amy Winehouse, Stormzy, Arctic Monkeys. I've already said One Direction, but you know what? Like, Robbie Williams. Oh my God, does anything make anyone feel prouder to be British than Robbie Williams? When Angel starts playing, you know. Mr. Brightside somehow makes us feel proud to be British. It's not even a British band. Somehow it works. There are so many things mostly linked to like culture and arts, which I really feel like resonates with people and really actually does make us feel proud of our country and our culture. And even if it's like something so abstract as our joy of moaning and complaining, like, I'm actually pretty proud of that, because I think we take joy in it, you know, like when we complain about the weather, we love to do it. And we love to complain about, I don't know, train delays, as long as they're not too frequent. And when your football team loses, like the low stakes complaints, we love to do it and it's fun, and we'll find the joy in a bit of misery. We're really good at that. But I don't like it when we're complaining about not being able to pay our energy bills, waiting times on the NHS. Like, they're actually giving us so much bad stuff to complain about that we're losing joy in complaining. It's just getting exasperating and exhausting. The left can definitely lean into being proud to be British and having that rhetoric and like really listing stuff that I think we can all gather around and say, yeah, I love that about Britain. And I'd love to hear in the comments what makes you guys feel proud to be British, because it's a question I've been asking a lot of my friends lately, and I've just been like, what is it for you? Pubs, for example. I think a lot of us are proud of pubs, and even if the Green Party could maybe like lower the cost of a pint, find a way to do that, like, I don't know what taxes and alcohol, lower that, or like find a way to support pubs, beautiful. I think that's a great way of supporting communities and something that a lot of people can get behind. So just think stuff like that, like really work on the things we are proud of to be British for and just move forward with that. I'm just saying we can lean into being proud of being British too and find ways to support that in our politics. And just genuinely keep bringing it back to money, keep coming back to tax the rich, keep coming back to defining what the rich are, and keep saying that they're the only party with actual feasible plan of putting more money back into the regular person's pocket and improving the cost of living crisis, because honestly, I think it's what most of us care about right now. I care about the environment, but I also care about not seeing another rent increase. I think the Greens need to remember what is important to the everyday person. Go out on the streets, talk to people, like, what is the one thing that is really bothering your life right now? and start working forward on that, because I actually think if you ask people, like, the top answer isn't going to be migrants. It's that outgoings versus incomings and struggling with the cost of living. Keep on focusing on that. Keep on focusing on actually having solutions, because I don't think anyone else is offering them. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Green Party, on what I think they can do to actually win the next election, win votes, make this country a better place. But I would love to hear from you guys, especially if you disagree on anything I say, especially if you think I could do some further reading or further listening. If it's a podcast, I'm very much into my podcasts. And if you haven't voted Green in the past or aren't planning on voting Green in the future, I would love to hear why. What is it that they aren't doing? What sort of party would you like to vote for? Do you think the Green Party can get there, or do you think it's going to have to be a whole different party? Very curious. And yeah, I know this video has been a bit different to usual, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. Mwah.